Welcome to Relay Chain, a podcast produced by Parity Technologies, where we discuss all things Substrate, Polkadot, and Web3. Today we're talking with Sota Watanabe, the CEO of Stake Technologies. Welcome, Sota.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Jorrin. I'm a big fan of Relay Chain and excited to be here.
Awesome. We're super excited to have you here. You're actually my first interview that is not Joe. So I've done one interview before, but you're my first parachain interview. And so I'm super excited to dig into your technology and hear what you guys have been working on. But before we do that, I'd like to get to know you a little bit better. Can you give yourself like a brief introduction? And I'm always curious to find out why people got into the blockchain space. And like, it's always cool to know how, but I'm really interested about the why.
Cool. My name is Sota Watanabe. I'm a founder of Stake Technologies and the Plasm Network. So Stake Technology is the company and the Plasm Network is the name of the public blockchain. So Plasm Network is a scalable DApps platform on Polkadot that support layer 2 technologies such as ZK-Rollups and Ethereum. So I think today we are going to talk about Plasm Network. So yeah, I would like to introduce myself a little bit. I joined the blockchain space, I think 5 years ago. And at the time I was working at SoftBank Robotics. So basically I was working on AI, artificial intelligence and robotics. But at the time, I have no passion on centralized world. And AI is all about data. So I was thinking, how can we decentralize the society and how can we make the fair future for the people rather than, machine or, centralized entity. Then the blockchain comes in. And after that, I went to Silicon Valley. And he worked at a local company, which is called Chronicle. And Chronicle is also using Substrate right now. So it's a sort of the coincidence. Yeah, after coming back to Japan, I became a blockchain researcher at the University of Tokyo, which is the highest university in Japan. And I met the CTO at that university. And I joined the Polkadot space 2 or 3 years ago. And at that time, we started making a module. But after that, I realized that we should make a parachain rather than a module because, parachain is one of the core components of Polkadot, and the Polkadot relay chain does not support smart contract functionality by design. So all the people need at least one parachain that supports smart contract, and this is where Plasm Networks comes in. And now I'm also working on Trusted Web, so which is sort of Web3 in Japan and led by Japanese government. So currently I'm one of the member of task force members and contributing to the Trusted Web as well.
Very cool. Yeah, I've heard you mention Trusted Web Council before. Can you talk a bit? I mean, you touched on saying that it's sort of like the Web3 Foundation in Japan, but what kind of projects are they working on? Like, what are the endeavors that they're working on right now?
Yeah, the Japanese government does not say Web3 because there are a lot of people who made Web 1.0 and Web 2.0, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the concept is very similar. So currently the web is dominated by big companies such as Google, Facebook, and so on, and the people do not control our data. From the Japanese people perspective, like Google is the American company and Facebook is the American company. So basically, Japanese data is controlled by American company. Or Line is also a Korean company. So our data is controlled by, the American company, Korean company, and so on. So from the government perspective, they would like to make fair system that the people can control their data by themselves. So we are heavily researching on DID, decentralized ID, and the blockchain. Sadly, the blockchain and the cryptocurrency is, not so good, not well known yet in Japan. So my role is to facilitate the conversation among the people who do not know the blockchain yet.
That's great. It's really nice to hear that the Web3 vision is spreading throughout the world, and that Japan has its own council kind of dedicated to this area. I think that's amazing. The more countries get on board with this, the better off the entire industry is going to be, and the more fair it's going to be. I really liked like the motivation is, you know, democratizing and spreading out the power of decisions when it comes to the web, and having more stake. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I do think so. And the Web3 is sort of the comprehensive movement that try to take back control over the data. And the also Web3 is born in, I think, EU, Europe, and the Gavin. But Web3 in Japan should be different from Web3 in EU. Web3 China should be different from Web3 Japan. So we have to digest the idea, and we have to spread our own idea in Asia. For me, in Japan.
Yeah, no, that's super important. That's amazing. And so that kind of brings us to your company, Stake Technologies, and your main product currently is Plasm. So tell us about Stake Technologies. Like, what is the foundation of this business?
Cool. Yeah, Stake Technology is the company which was established back in 2019. And our mission is to make decentralized autonomous organization. And currently we are making public blockchain called Plasm Network, which is a Polkadot parachain. And we are doing our best to connect our blockchain to Kusama and the Polkadot. So as I said, our mission is to make decentralized autonomous organization and realize Web 3.0. So I'm going to close our company in 1 or 2 years, and we are going to implement the on-chain governance on the top of Plasm Network. So the Stake Technologies can be a single point of failure right now. So we would like to remove our company to self. So this is like a new but strong concept. Many of my friends are working on startup, and they would like to do the IPO or M&A, but it does not make sense for us to do IPO or M&A because Plasma Network can be centralized and be controlled by Stake Technologies. This is not good for us. So we would like to make DAO, which means we would like to close our company as soon as possible. It sounds weird.
Yeah.
But I believe this is the future.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm a super big fan of decentralized autonomous organizations. I think it is the way of the future. I would love to see our governments run more in this sort of way. And I think slowly we're getting towards that destination. But it's refreshing to hear that you want to close your company. That's super interesting, and I love it.
Thanks.
So does that mean that you're planning on using the Plasm tokens? And we'll talk about the difference between the two tokens that you have. Will these tokens be used in the governance of everything moving forward?
Yeah, I'm sure that Polkadot broadened the horizon. And the Polkadot has on-chain governance, so which means the council member and the token holder can manage in the Polkadot itself. So we technically do not need entities. So we're gonna do the same things on the top of Plasma Network. We have a PLM token, so which will be used for a governance token as well as a utility token. Yeah, we are going to launch Schiden network, which is the Canary network, and we are going to connect the Schiden network to Kusama and the Plasma network to Polkadot. I think we are going to make on-chain governance on Schiden network in this year before Plasma network.
Wow, that's great. That sounds amazing. Okay, and so you mentioned that you are a layer 2 solution, a scalability solution, but you're also a layer 1 blockchain that people can build their own applications on, and you're built with Substrate. So let's talk a little bit about that and how you came to decide to use Substrate, and let's take it from there.
Yeah, Substrate is one of the best tool to make blockchain. And also Substrate has many advanced features, such as hard forkless updates, and the Substrate is using WebAssembly, and live P2P, etc. So I'm a big fan of the Substrate. And also, I think future will be multi-chain. So many blockchains should be connected in the future. And the Polkadot make it possible. And at this moment, I think parachain can only be a substrate chain at this moment. And that's why we are working on Substrate itself, and we are making Plasm Network by using Substrate. And a little bit about Plasm Network. So Plasm Network is multi-virtual machine, multi-chain smart contract on the top smart contract hub on Polkadot that support Ethereum and the layer 2 solutions such as ZK-Rollup. I think there are a lot of things I needed to cover. So what do you mean by multi-chain and multi-virtual machine? So we support Ethereum virtual machine and WebAssembly. So developer can deploy Solidity contract, Ink contract, and Viper contract on the top of Plasma Network. And when it comes to smart contract platform, I think layer 2 solution is needed in the long run. So we are making the foundation, the substrate of Web3 for billion of people. So Polkadot itself is a scaling solution, but this is layer 1 scalability solution. So we need vertical scalability, which is layer 2. And that's why we are working on ZK-Rollup now. So vertical scalability is much faster, more flexible, and cheaper. Since layer 2 does not need to be broken chain. And also, the things I would like to mention is multi-chain. So we are working on Ethereum bridge, secret network bridge, and also Binance chain bridge in the future since we are backed by Binance right now.
Wow. That's amazing. So you've got a lot of, you have interoperability in mind, which is a core premise for Polkadot. And I think that's amazing. I want to talk a bit more about what makes Plasm work under the hood. So for those that may not know about Substrate, it's a framework that you can take modules and put them together based on the needs of your blockchain. And it's kind of, building blocks, Lego blocks for a blockchain, so to speak. So what kind of modules or palettes have you used in Plasm that makes it unique? And have you built like specific ones for your use case?
Yeah, sure. I think Ethereum compatibility is not the differentiator since all parachain can support Ethereum virtual machines. So Plasma Network is Ethereum compatible, and Acala is also Ethereum compatible, and Moonbeam is also Ethereum compatible. I think a lot of parachain will support Ethereum virtual machine. And so what makes Plasma different from other parachain? So we invented at least two things. One is DApps staking. And another one is scaling solution, especially ZK-Rollup. So regarding the DApps staking, PLM token holder, our token holder can stake not only network, but also application. So let's say Jorrin is making smart contract and DApps on the top of Plasma Network. I can nominate my PLM token on your application. And by doing so, you, the application developer, and I can get rewards from the block rewards. So to make it simple, by making application on the top of Plasma Network, you can earn PLM token. But let's say Ethereum, if you develop your application on the top of Ethereum, you have to pay gas. And it's not cheap. So you lose money in the short run. But you can make money if you develop application on the top of Plasma Network. This is really unique since only Plasma support DApps staking at this moment. And another one is ZK-Rollup. So recently we have received the grant from the Web3 Foundation regarding the ZK-Rollup, and our milestone 1 has been approved by Web3 Foundation last week. And we have all successfully deployed the Matters Labs ZK-Rollup Solidity contract on the top of Plasma Network. So there are two important things. The first is Plasma Network is ZK-Rollup compatible. I think in the coming months, Ethereum community is all in on rollups, right? So they can migrate from Ethereum to Polkadot without sacrificing their code. and they can make multi-chain rollup solution since we support ZK-Rollup. Another important thing is ZK-Rollup is obviously one of the most complicated solidity contract in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But we have successfully deployed that complicated code, solidity codes on the top of our Ethereum virtual machine. So I'm sure that we can support various a lot of solidity contract on the top of Plasma network in this year or in coming months. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that sounds really amazing. Was this achieved by creating a palette that achieves this functionality? And is that palette able to be used in other people's runtime?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we are making a ZK rollup palette so anyone can use it. And we also use Frontier, which is developed by Parity Technologies, and Frontier is the Ethereum compatible palette. So we use Frontier and we are using our own ZK rollup palette, but which can be used by anyone.
That's amazing. Yeah, it just goes to show like it's a very community driven thing that kind of started in Web3. And now we have teams such as yourselves contributing to these building blocks that can then be used in the future. And it's only going to, compound and get larger and more usable as we go forward. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
There's another piece that I wanted to touch on that I was reading some of your documentation about, where you have the ability to have ownership of contracts swappable, like you can transfer ownership. So you can think about building a business and then in the more traditional sense of like maybe selling that business. Can you talk a bit about that?
Cool. Yeah, this is called operator trading. So our layer 2 application and our layer 1 application has the ownership. So which means, let's say CryptoKitties, just an example. So
Mm-hmm.
CryptoKitty is developed by DApps, which is a famous Ethereum company, NFT company. But I would like to buy CryptoKitties. But this is smart contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on the top of Plasma network, we can transfer the ownership of smart contract itself. So I can buy smart contract rather than buying the company. So we are making a sort of new M&A solution in a blockchain system.
That's very cool. That's something unique that I hadn't even thought of before, but that's super cool. You talked a bit about how you differ from other EVM compatible parachains. That's really cool. And you also talked a bit about your Web3 grants. I know you've received more than a few Web3 grants. One of them is like ZK-Rollups. And you also have Optimistic Virtual Machine grant going on. What else are you guys working on?
Yeah, we have received 6 grants from the Web3 Foundation so far. Yeah, I would like to mention this, receiving a grant and delivering a grant, two different things.
Yeah.
And, yeah, right? And delivering the grant is much, much, much tough
Mm-hmm.
than, receiving the grant. So
Mm-hmm.
currently the Polkadot is sort of like a buzzword in the blockchain space. So a lot of projects advertise the Web3 Foundation's grants. We received the Web3 Foundation grant, yay. But this is just receiving a grant. The more important thing is delivering the grant.
Right.
And so far, we received 6 grants from the Web3 Foundation. And we have already delivered 4 grants. And yeah, regarding the 6 grants, we have already delivered a Plasma module, Ink Playground, and the ECDSA implementation, and the ECDSA for hardware. So Ledger or Tether user can use Plasma Network and Substrate blockchain without making another secret private key. So Ethereum private key can be used on Substrate and Polkadot. This is also our implementation. And we are working on ZK-Rollup and the optimistic virtual machine. So optimistic virtual machine is the subset of the optimistic rollup.
Right.
And we have already submitted the milestone 1 of ZK-Rollup out of 2 milestone, and we have already submitted the 4 milestone of optimistic virtual machine out of 5. So almost done.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, you're just working away. That's
Yeah.
great. Another cool piece, I think, tied to one of those grants was that you, and I think this is also unique. I at least haven't seen another parachain that can do this. Is you can use MetaMask in order to interact with your blockchain, whereas
Yep.
typically you can use Polkadot JS, which is built by Parity Technologies, to interact with the parachain. But do you want to talk a bit about making that compatibility?
Yeah, I think Ethereum compatibility is the one of the most important things right now.
Hmm.
Since a lot of users are on Ethereum and they actually develop the dApps on the top of Ethereum right now. So we decided to support Ethereum tools such as MetaMask, Remix, yeah, and so on. So you can deploy Solidity contract and bypass contract by using MetaMask and Remix today.
That's amazing.
Yeah, one of the difference is the address, the format of address. So Substrate address starts from 5, right? But Ethereum address starts from 0x.
Mm.
So we need a converter from Substrate address to Ethereum address to Substrate address. So that's why we implemented ECDSA signature for Substrate, so that Substrate developer can convert their Substrate private key to Ethereum public key.
Very, very cool.
And it is 100% open source, so anyone can use it. And that's why anyone can deploy the contract on the top of Plasma network. And this is Solidity part. And we also have a WebAssembly part. So Plasma is the multi-virtual machine. So you can deploy Solidity contract, bypass contract, as well as Ink. I think this is gonna be one of the differentiator in coming months.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about your actual parachains. So I think we've started to see a trend in the space where they're modeling after Kusama and Polkadot, where we have a true test net, which is Rococo, and then we also have West End, and then Kusama is kind of the wild cousin, the canary network we call it, where you can test things out and be very experimental, and then if you want to move on to the very serious enterprise chain, you move over to Polkadot. So do you want to talk about how that has inspired the way that you've developed your network or the vision for your network?
Yeah, sure. We are going to launch Schiden network. Schiden network is a parachain for Kusama. And we are going to connect Plasma network to Polkadot. The reason why we deploy the Schiden network is the Polkadot and Kusama does not have a hot swappable consensus yet. So we have to deploy the blockchain to Polkadot or Kusama directly. And once we connect our blockchain to Kusama, we have to connect that blockchain to Kusama at least 6 months.
Mm.
So yeah, we would like to be one of the core team in Web3 world. So we would like to connect our blockchain to Kusama as one of the first Kusama parachain. And we would like to connect Plasma network to Polkadot as one of the first Polkadot parachain. So that's why we are going to deploy to network. And Polkadot is one of the most complicated blockchain from the technical point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So we would like to test how it works on Kusama first, and then Polkadot is the second.
Right.
Since the cross-chain messaging passing and shared security are under the heavy development. So we have to make sure these kind of concept work. And regarding our track records, we have already connected our Plasma network testnet to Rococo as a first parachain, and we have deployed the smart contract, WebAssembly smart contract, and it works on the top of Polkadot testnet parachain. And the last month, we have successfully completed the first cross-chain messaging passing with Acala. So PLM token, our token can be transferred to Acala, and we can receive the Acala token on Plasma network. And the last week, we supported Ethereum virtual machine on the top of Polkadot testnet parachain. I think many project has Ethereum compatibility, but what actually they are doing is supporting Ethereum virtual machine on the top of independent substrate chain. But now we support Ethereum virtual machine on the top of Polkadot parachain. So the user can actually develop and actually can make application on the top of Polkadot parachain instead of individual substrate chain. I think this is one of the most important update in the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's super powerful. I wanted to ask about what is there going to be any differences between Schiden network? Because I know Kusama runs 4 times faster than Polkadot, and we can really test things out in a quicker way, but with real economic value. So, are there going to be any changes that you're making to the core protocol for Schiden?
So Shiden is going to be live very soon. And the Shiden has exactly the same token economics to Plasma Network. Basically, we are going to hard fork Plasma Network and make another chain. The reason to launch Shiden Network is to test token economics and how it works. So the token economics should be the same to Plasma Network at the first point. But as you said, Kusama is much faster than Polkadot in terms of the governance.
Mm-hmm.
So Shiden network can be changed in the future. But at the same time, it's exactly the same. But after implementing on-chain governance, Shiden network will be different from Plasma network.
Right. So yeah, once you have secured your slot as a parachain, that's when like the real kind of interoperable future begins. And you already kind of touched on this earlier, and I want to say congratulations to first of all the first parachain to connect to Rococo, but then also the first parachain to achieve a cross message with Acala. And I think that was a huge step. I'm not sure that folks had heard about it, but that's like a huge step in interoperability moving forward. So do you want to talk about how that came about and yeah, what that was like?
Yeah, interoperability was a buzzword in the last few years,
Hmm.
but it became reality finally. So I'm super excited about cross-chain messaging passing and also how it works on Kusama and on Polkadot. So it was very funny. One of our core developer, Alex, is working on Rococo. He realized that we made XCMP possible with other parachain. Since I know Acala's team, actually before they started Acala itself. So yeah, we are very close relationship. So on our Telegram group, so Alex said it is possible to make cross-chain messaging passing, and we are looking for another team. And we implemented XCMP with Acala. Obviously, the Acala supported us a lot. And then it was super amazing. Alex implemented XMP transaction by himself, and everyone was surprised. Yeah, this is sort of the story behind the first cross-chain messaging passing. So yeah, I would like to collaborate with many solid parachain project and make cross-chain messaging passing between Plasm and the other parachains in coming months.
Yeah, I'm curious, what other parachains have you been working with, and what parachains do you really want to work with? I know you've already worked with Acala. Who else are you working with?
Yeah, Interlay is really close. I met the founders in Japan and also at the Sub-Zero Summit. Yeah, before the COVID. Yeah, a lot
Mm.
of people at the Sub-Zero Summit or Web3 Summit. So I met a lot of people, and I'm really like to work with this kind of guy whom I met in 2019 or 2020. Since these kind of guy are driven by mission rather than the price.
Mm.
I'm sure that I'm closely working with Interlay, and also I know someone from HydraDex, and also Fala Class Network, etc. So currently we are focusing on Chinese market, and we have two Chinese representative, and they are managing the Chinese communication and also collaboration. So we are working with a lot of Chinese projects as well. Nationality is not important at all, by the way.
Right, right. Yeah, we're building a global interoperable
Yeah.
ecosystem. So we all need to work together. I know, like we got to talk about NFTs, of course, because they're the
Oh,
hugest craze going on right now. I know you guys partnered with Bondly and
yeah.
you made a NFT Plasm. It's a one of the Polkadot series. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, this is also a funny story. So Bondry approached us and they said they would like to make polka bets and they would like to make Plasma NFT, which is good since NFT is such a good topic. And also we are really interested in NFT on Plasma Network as well. But Parachain is not ready for the NFT, so we issued NFT on the top of Ethereum, and we issued around 800 Plasma Network NFTs, and which is sold out in 4 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't get one. It was
Oh
too
yeah.
quick.
Yeah, it was the fastest token sale in our
Hmm.
Polkadot ecosystem. So Bondry was really surprised, and I was really surprised to see that. I could not get one as well.
Oh wow, that's funny. So I was reading through like what Pokepets are going to be about. Like they're making a game, I guess similar to Pokemon, where you'll be able to battle them and such. But the fact that they're NFTs, the capabilities or the potential capabilities are much greater. So do you have any ideas about what these NFTs might be able to do outside of being played with in a game?
Yeah, sure. So at that moment, NFT holder can access to private channel, and also we can support the NFT holder and the NFT community on Discord. Only the people who has that NFT can access to the private Discord channel. And also, Plasma Network is a decentralized application hub on the top of Polkadot. And I think a lot of projects will be creating DApps or creating token on the top of Plasma Network. And our NFT holder can access to these kind of application as a first user or exclusive VIP user. And also they have a chance to participate in, token sale and the further NFT stuff on the top of Plasma Network. So this is sort of a ticket for the future collaboration in the future
Mm.
carnival, the festival on the top of
Yeah.
Plasma Network.
That's super cool. Yeah, I'm super sad I wasn't able to get in on that. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't have a one as well. Neither.
Okay, so I want to talk about. I noticed that you guys had an accelerator program as well. So you're trying to attract people to build on top of Plasm. Do you want to talk about that accelerator program?
Yeah, sure. So we are going to start acceleration program called the Plasma Network Acceleration Program, and we are going to, support DApps holder, that DApps developer to develop DApps on the top of Plasma Network from technical side and also marketing side. Currently, we are backed by a lot of venture capital, so I can introduce this guy, the people who build DApps on the top of Plasma Network, and also. So Polkadot is still under the heavy development, and Substrate is also under the active development. And we are following these kind of new features and new implementation. And we are going to share this kind of implementation to dApps developer in our ecosystem so that they can just focus on making dApps on the top of Parachain, and they don't need to follow all updates on the Substrate and on Polkadot. So this is going to be a great feature. And we are going to publish the Plasma Network portal. So anyone can deploy the Solidity contract or Ink contract through Plasma Network portal with GUI. So no need to write the code itself. And after that, I believe a lot of projects will deploy dApps on the top of Plasma Network, and we can select some of the projects for the acceleration program. So the first thing is to deploy Plasma Network portal first, and then we are going to start Plasma Network acceleration program. based on the result on Plasma Network portal. Since, as I mentioned before, we have a DApps staking. So user can stake PLM token on DApps. And the user can upvote and downvote the project. And based on the evaluation by community, we are going to pick up some project for the acceleration program. Decentralized voting is really important for us, since this is sort of our philosophy.
Right. And so the acceleration program is in the works and it's going to be coming soon. Do you have a kind of timeline for that and how people can look out to get involved as soon as it gets launched?
Cool. Yeah. Plasma Network portal is 100% ready, and we are making it interactive right now. And we are going to launch this portal in weeks rather than in months. I hope we can launch it in 4 or 5 weeks. And then after that, anyone can deploy contracts through portal, and we are going to start acceleration program, I think, from the end of April or something like that.
Very cool. All right. Well, we've talked a whole lot about Plasm, and I've enjoyed this conversation so much. And we touched on at the beginning of the conversation about Stake Technologies and your vision for that dissolving and becoming a DAO. But is there anything else on the horizon for Stake Technologies, or is Plasm like the main baby, so to speak, that you will then release into the world and then dissolve the company? Or is there any more work that Stake Technologies has to do?
Yeah, last week we have done a lot for enterprises, and we use Substrate for the proof of concepts. So we implemented, payment solution. We have implemented the NFT solution, and we have implemented the some sort of privacy, the supply chain stuff as well. But from this year, we 100% focus on Plasma Network. Since 2021, Polkadot gonna be big, and we should focus on the one things rather than a lot of things. That's just like a startup. So we decided to focus on Polkadot 100%. In the year 2021, we are going to focus on Plasma Network 100%, I think. So yeah, our priority is to make Plasma Network one of the first summer and the Polkadot parachain, and we would like to make a lot of dApps on the top of Plasma Network and make Web3 happen as soon as possible. So yeah, I'm 100% bet on Polkadot and the Web3 in the long run. So yeah, we would like to make a social impact beyond the community.
That's wonderful. I'm super excited for you and for Plasm to continue on the path that it's going. I'm going to be following you guys very closely. This has been a great talk. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. Do you have any kind of final words to share with the listeners? Any links that you want to share, and how people can get a hold of you and follow Plasm as well?
Yeah, cool. Since Polkadot relay chain does not support smart contract, I think we need at least one parachain. I think more than one parachain that supports smart contract. And in terms of Plasma Network, we support Ethereum compatibility and layer 2 solution. It's actually happening right now, so you can deploy contract on the top of Plasma Network today. So yeah, our mission is to make DAO and realize Web3. So we're gonna do our best to do so. And it would be great if we could walk this journey together with talented developers. So we are hiring all the time. And also we would like to make our ecosystem much, much bigger and much, much stronger. So if you are interested, feel free to contact me on Discord, Telegram, whatever you want, and please join the part of the ecosystem. I think currently Polkadot is, attracting a lot of attention. So a lot of projects are focusing on the marketing rather than delivering a product. But we believe that delivering product makes a difference in the long run. So we focus on the product, and we focus on, distributing the value to the users. So it would be great if we could walk this journey together.
Yes, thank you so much. That's amazing. I'm definitely on the journey with you. And again, I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us this week on Relay Chain. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the subjects we talked about today, so please reach out to us on Twitter @RelayChain or by email podcast@parity.io. The team at Parity has some of the brightest minds working towards building a robust and inclusive ecosystem that puts power back into the hands of its community members. With cross-chain communication as a primary goal, we aim to break down the tribalistic barriers that have formed throughout the blockchain industry. If you want to learn more about what we're building, or if you want to join our team, visit our website at parity.io and sign up for our newsletter at parity.io/newsletter.